It's March 31st disclosure day, and we've got a massive batch. SoftBank doubling down on OpenAI, Subaru reversing course on BEVs, Nissan in full retreat, and a couple of industrial giants reshaping themselves. Let's get into it.
Ticker 9984. SoftBank just committed another $30 billion to OpenAI, bringing cumulative investment to roughly $65 billion. That's not a bet, that's an identity shift.
Right. They renamed the ARM segment to AI Computing Business and integrated Ampere computing into it. ARM itself is now designing in-house chips. The AGI CPU, partnered with Meta. They're also building data centers in Texas, Ohio, and France, with multi-gigawatt scale.
And PayPay listed on NASDAQ in March. SoftBank keeps about 90%. The whole portfolio is being repositioned around AI infrastructure and compute.
The financials reflect it. Net profit jumped to 5 trillion yen, mostly from OpenAI valuation gains. But investing cash flow was negative 4.5 trillion and debt hit 8.2 trillion. This is a leverage-driven AI infrastructure play.
Ticker 7270. Subaru just delayed its in-house BEV program and pushed the 50% BEV sales target from 2030 onwards. That's a quiet but massive reversal.
They're redirecting development resources to next-gen hybrids and ICE vehicles, citing HEV demand resurgence. At the same time, they're shifting Forester production to the U.S. to dodge tariffs, and more than doubling capex at their Indiana plant to 64 billion yen.
And they authorized a 150 billion yen buyback despite operating profit collapsing 90%. The dividend policy shifted to progressive dividends targeting a 3.5% DOE. They're protecting the stock while earnings crater.
Toyota's stake also increased to 21.5%. The alliance is deepening, with jointly developed EVs now slated for Gunma alongside sports cars.
Ticker 7201. Nissan's Re-Nissan plan is brutal, cutting 12,700 jobs, reducing models from 56 to 45, and closing 6 of 7 targeted plants within this fiscal year.
They divested India and Indonesia operations, suspended production in Argentina and Mexico, and sold the Yokohama headquarters in a sale-leaseback. They also issued 200 billion in convertible bonds to stay liquid. Free cash flow was negative 480 billion.
New CEO Ivan Espinosa voluntarily returned half his bonus. The Renault Alliance shareholding cap dropped from 15 to 10%. The Honda integration was cancelled. Nissan is shrinking to survive.
Ticker 4188. This one's radical. They divested Mitsubishi Tanabe Pharma entirely to Bain Capital, exited Coke and Carbon Materials with a 71 billion yen restructuring reserve, and canceled the U.S. MMA plant.
The parent company headcount went from 4014 to roughly 31. Functions were transferred to subsidiary Mitsubishi Chemical Corp., which simultaneously ran a voluntary retirement program with over 1,200 participants. They also divested J-Film and the insurance agency business.
On the growth side, they acquired Corregus in Australia, Polaris in Italy, and invested in EUV dry-resist materials for next-gen semiconductors. The industrial gas segment is being unified under the Nippon Sanso brand globally.
Operating profit collapsed 79% due to 98 billion in impairments, but dividends were maintained. They're calling it a pivot to a green specialty company.
Ticker 6471. NSK signed a basic agreement to integrate management with NTN via a joint share transfer. That's a major industry consolidation story.
They also reconsolidated the steering business. NSK Steering and Control came back fully in-house from Japan Industrial Solutions, which drove a 14% revenue surge and an 8.5 billion yen bargain purchase gain. They exited UK bearing manufacturing and divested the Indian steering subsidiary.
The strategic pivot is Bearings and Beyond. They invested in RT Corporation for robotics, partnered with Delta Electronics on humanoid robot actuators, and developed ultra-low-dust ball screws for 2-nanometer semiconductor processes. They're targeting cross-shareholdings down to 0.
Big picture, SoftBank is all in on AI infrastructure.
Automakers are retreating from BEEV timelines, and industrial conglomerates are radically divesting. Watch for NTNSK integration details and Nissan's next cash flow print.
Also watch Subaru's U.S. production shift, and whether Mitsubishi Chemical's pharma divestiture proceeds cleanly. That's all for today.